Hi, I'm Adrian Jones, Director of Corsica Studios.
I'm Amanda Moss, Director of Corsica Studios. What we are now is, I suppose, a multifunctional space. We do lots of different things here. We do live music, we have club nights, we have art exhibitions, all sorts of things, sort of community workshops, things like that. The way that we've come to be and the way that we were set up is many moons ago. I left college and Adrian was a musician, I was an artist, and we thought, wouldn't it be great if we had a space that we could do lots of different things in, and we could bring people together, and we could have art and we could have music, and we could sort of share our platform and build a community and sort of really contribute to wherever that community is in terms of a borough or wherever they are in London.
We were looking also for our own studio spaces to house our own practices. So I needed a space to have my recording studio, Amanda was looking for a painting studio. So we kind of had this idea that we would find buildings that we would house ourselves in, and then kind of look at the other sort of revenue streams that could be got from those buildings, either through letting other spaces to other artists who needed workspace, or rehearsal space, and we had a lot of short-term projects, sort of short-term properties that were maybe available for a couple of years or 18 months or so, on much lower rents, because obviously the leases weren't secure, or they weren't long-term leases, so the landlords were willing to work with us on a short-term basis. And as a result, we could offer short, quite sort of competitive rents to other artists who were in a similar position to us. We didn't have any funding or didn't have any major sort of income streams, but it was kind of an idealistic sort of utopian vision of, well, a bunch of artists can sort of find a building and kind of work together, and we can just get on with making our own work, really, rather than seeing it as a particularly structured vision of a business. It was, well, we can get on and do our own thing.
And bring communities together, and that was the driving force, to sort of build these communities within blighted communities, because at that time we were in North London and we had quite a few short-term buildings around King's Cross. So we would negotiate a building for example, we had a building for 18 months just behind the Scala, and in order for us to secure that building, we provided the offices, which was London Continental Railways, with a number of artworks, for example. And so we built up relationships within that company with certain individuals. And what I would say, if other people are going to sort of go into spaces, and because a lot of people can go into sort of empty spaces, put on an exhibition on a short term, but it's quite difficult to get a commitment from a landlord who is going to make that sort of work on a long term. So what we found is that we'd have a very, very good relationship with certain individuals in an organisation, but then that individual may leave, and then it's like snakes and ladders. It's exactly like snakes and ladders. You'll build up, and then all of a sudden the person that's championing what you're doing leaves or gets promoted, and then you have to start all again, right from the very bottom, or you've got to do the whole thing again with people who aren't so aware of your project. But what that did enable us to do was run a number of short-term projects over probably 5 years, which were for peppercorn rent. So we were in a bubble, and we were able to organise a template for our activity, because we wanted to be able to become a sustainable organisation. We didn't necessarily want to rely on grants, because there weren't any for short-term projects, or there was always the sort of the realisation that those grants, you might get them for 3 years, and then what you're going to do over after that. So we wanted to become sustainable. So what we did through that 5 years of moving around from different spaces is it gave us the knowledge to sort of build clients, build relationships, try different things out, and without relatively a large investment, and sort of see what worked. and see how we could see what elements would work, and the perfect sort of space or environment